there's one other thing we can do, but before we do that, I think we'll just do a trial fit so you can see how it changes with the little improvements that we do along the way. What you didn't see me do off camera was I just cut up this piece of plywood and trimmed that, and I just used a little handsaw and a block plane to make it nice and square. But I mentioned earlier that I was going to put fabric over the top, over the back of the MDF so it didn't leach through and stain the embroidery fabric. But this is some stuff I found that had a nice melamine white coat on it, and I thought that'll work absolutely wonderfully. Okay, so frame, glass, ta-da. Embroidery, piece of MDF. That's how it looks there. Now, if we get this piece of veneer, pop it in, then put the pander over it, then put the back on. How much difference does that make? That to me is spectacular. I just love it. It sort of brings it to life. There's one more thing we can do which can change the frame again and really give it a unique style and look. So we'll do that right now. I'll just put all this to one side. So what I'm going to do now with this, just to finish it off, get a rag, wipe off any excesses still lying around, but you'll notice also that the wax has hardened after a while and it won't come off on your fingers. So now to highlight the moulding itself, what I'm going to do is sand off the high spots. Now, if you haven't got an orbital sander set up like I've got, a cork block, and what I've said many times, if you buy a cork block, glue a little bit of plywood onto it. So there you've got a hard surface, and here you've got a soft surface. Now, if I was to sand using the soft surface, the cork side, it can actually go into the moulding a little bit, and I don't want that. I just want the high spots knocked off. So what I will do is use the hard part, and it's got a bit of dag on it, which I don't really want, because that would change the pattern. I'll use the hard part of the ply, and it will only touch the high spots of the frame, and this is the effect you get. I'll do partly with this, and this is 220 grit I'm using. You could use 180, but I wouldn't go any coarser than 180. And when I use the orbital sander, or the random orbital sander, I'll use 240. But just down here to show you the difference, depending how hard you want to rub, will depend how defined the lines are. Let's go over the edge. And you can see there, it gives quite a nice effect. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have a random, like I've got, and I've recently just found this sander. Before I was using another brand, and then I saw this one. It's actually cheaper than the brand I used before, and it is extraordinary. The thing that I like about it, it's got an on-off switch. The other one, you just turned it on and it was already live, where here I've got an on-off switch, and also this lever here is variable speed, so I can go very slowly or fast. And what I've got, the same company, which is Mercer. Oh, by the way, this is available. You can check them out online. bestabrasives.com.au, and it absolutely is a marvellous bit of gear. I prefer it to the other brand that I had. It's lighter to use, it's more responsive, and the thing I do like, as I said, it's got variable speed. And they're sanding discs. Look at that, almost transparent. And what it is, it's just a very fine mesh, and the abrasive is sprayed onto the mesh, which allowed for about 99.9% of the sanding dust to be extracted, as you can see. So I'll do that. There you go. It'll get straight through there. Whereas the other ones, you have to line the holes up, and you only get extraction, and that's not lined up. There you go. You only get extraction out of those holes that are lined up to the ports. So if you're inside and you want to invest in a sander that makes life easier, I do have a little suitcase extraction unit down next to the bench, which you might have heard kicking in. These are the go, because there's absolutely no dust. I actually sanded 6 chopping boards on this workbench a while ago, and when I'd finished, I went like that with my finger, and you couldn't see any dust on the mat at all. So there you go, Merca. And once more, bestabrasives.com.au. So I'm going to do the same thing now, but with this sander. And also variable speed. It's got plus and minus, so you can set the maximum and minimum speed. And that's it, all done and finished. And it gives a really nice textural, as I said, French provincial feel, or cottage feel, country feel, beach house, whatever you want to call it. But with one plane and a little bit of thought, we've come up with a picture frame that would cost a fair amount of money if you actually had to go and buy it. So we'll put all this together and we'll see what it looks like when it's finished, and then it can go out on the wall. To hold it in, I'm going to use these push pins. Which you just basically pop in with a screwdriver, wherever the screwdriver's got to. And there you go. Now, I'm going to put a bit of chain on the back and mount it on the wall, and we'll have a look, see what it looks like in this new home. But I hope you enjoyed that. And as I said, very easy project, one plane and a saw, and basically that's it. Okay, we did need a plane on the shooting board, but again, if you want to know how to make the shooting board, check it out there. And another nice project that is done inside. And to prove I didn't make much of a mess, I'll show you how messy it is behind the bench where I'm standing. So as you can tell, I didn't make a huge amount of mess, and the vacuum cleaner will pick that up in no time. And that just goes to prove that you can do woodworking in a small confined space inside the house with minimum noise, minimum mess, easy to clean up, no dust, and things you can hang on the wall that people will be impressed with. Next, I'm going to do a little job that might help you out in the pantry or reaching those higher shelves in the bookshelves. So this is Steve saying, remember, if you've got a desire, if you can allocate the time and you've got the space, you too will have room for woodwork. Keep it safe, enjoy your woodwork. Bye for now.